Okay, I'm back. So I want to talk about jury duty, y'all. Okay, so they found the man guilty. Okay, so you know my jury duty. I went in. The case was this. It was a woman who had been killed in a trailer park in a trailer, and the trailer was set on fire, and she died in the trailer. The man that was convicted of it, he was a homeless person, and he came in contact with her. This woman, and it's so sad, this woman, she was having problems, a white lady, having problems under 30, having problems at home, domestic issues with her husband or whatever. She was going to leave town, and she was going to leave town the day after Easter. She was killed on Easter, on the 1st of April 2018. She didn't have any money. She called her friend in a different state and asked her to send her some money so that she could move down and have a way to get down to Southern California, where her family is. And the girl sends her $300. The girl came in as a witness. The girl is in custody now. That girl is in custody. So a lot, and all of the witnesses, most of the witnesses for this girl were homeless people. And it's so crazy how she came in contact with all these people, and all these surveillance cameras and shit caught her, caught the guy who killed her, caught the guy she was with. She went across the street. She got the money. They showed us the text messages from her and her friend. She sent her the money from Walmart to Walmart. She got $300. She is a drinker. She went drinking. She went to the park that was close to her apartment. Went to the park, sitting in the park. She's drinking vodka or some kind of, hard alcohol. And she runs into this guy, a homeless man. She runs into two homeless men, one that ended up killing her. She runs into one, and she's asking for coke, and she's trying to figure out, you can go, people know where to go to find what they need. You understand? And she's at the park, and she's asking these homeless people, do they know where they can, where she can get some coke? And one of the guys, he sees her, and he was like, I wanted to he said he saw her and another one of their homeless guy. They were talking, and they saw her coming from the back of the park. And the other guy said, well, I gotta go watch her because she's by herself. I don't know who this girl is, because in the community of homeless people, they know who's who. He was like, I don't know who she is, watch her. So she walked up to him and was asking him, she had been drinking, asking him for the dope. And he said she had her purse open. You can see money in her purse. And then here comes the other guy, the one who ended up killing her. Here he comes. And she told guy, his name was Ken, the homeless guy that was told to watch this random girl walking around in the park, watch her, because there's other people in the park, and we don't want her to be, she wanted her to kind of be safe. So when she ran into Ken, he said, you might want to close your purse, because, this is not the right, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, crazy hours, 1 o'clock in the morning. He said, you might want to close your purse, because it's not really the right place to have your shit open like that. And she told him, can you stay with me, because there's this guy I was talking to, and he's kind of sketchy. The man who ended up killing her. When I tell y'all, listen to your intuition, she knew something was wrong with that guy, and he ended up killing her, y'all. And I'm going by a testimony of they had the homeless people came in. So he said, so he's staying with her, right? And he was like, I'm gonna stay with her. She seemed like she was drunk. We had a drink or whatever. And then so she said, so the guy who killed her said, his name is William. She said, can you stay with me? And Ken said, yeah, I'll stay with you. So he said it was around 4 o'clock or whatever now in the morning, and they're sitting down and they're talking, and the guy that killed her, he was still right there. and they sat down, her and Ken sat down, and he said that dude was lighting pieces of paper on fire, and he thought it was strange, and he didn't even, pay no attention. But why is he lighting shit on fire? Didn't even pay attention to him. And then they were sitting down, her and Ken. Her name is Ariana, and she sat down. Ken and Ariana sat down, and then William comes and sits right in between them. Sits right in between them and tells dude, don't cock block. And then he was like, okay. He acted like he didn't hear him, and he was like, what'd you say? And then he said later, he told him, don't be a snitch. So even the prosecutor was like, well, what would he be snitching about? What are you about to do? Why? What? Snitching about what? Right? So he said he sat in between her. She was telling Ken and the other guy about her situation and her family and how she was going to move with her kid and all this other stuff. And this is what the guy's testimony is. And he was like, and she was telling me, I felt like we kind of connected. And he said that then they started walking to the, so she asked him, she asked the other guy, do you have any coke, or can you find some coke? So the guy leaves. He said he disappears. He went somewhere, and him and her were walking. Ken and Ariana were walking. What's going on? We're walking, and they decided to go to the store. And you could see them on the surveillance from the store. And by this time, it was like 5 a.m. And out here, you can't buy alcohol until 6 o'clock in the morning. So they showed him on the surveillance, waiting on the side of the gas station where they had the liquor, and hanging out the side of the gas station. And she told
house with garden.
Hello? Okay, I'll see you in a little while. All right, bye. And so he said that they walked to the gas, and she was like, I have money, don't worry about it. So she had the money. So they get the liquor around. You could see her waiting on the side of the gas station, and he was like, you don't want to go in. They showed him going in. You could see him on the camera going in, buying 4 beers, those 20-ounce beers like that, of cans. And she gave him the money, and she was about to give him $100 bill, and he was like, no, you can give me something smaller than that. They're not that much. So she gave him a smaller bill, and you could see her on the side of the surveillance waiting for him. And he was like, you don't want to go in? She was like, no, because I live close, and I don't want my boyfriend to see me out here, and I just don't want him to see me. So he was like, okay. He goes in, he buys the beer. When he's walking out, and they're walking back towards the park, they see dude, William, and he's walking with them, and they're having a drink or whatever. And then at that time, Ken, who had lost some of his belongings a few days prior, somebody comes and was like, yo, we found your bike, and we found all of your stuff. So he got distracted by this guy coming and telling him that they found his stuff, and he went to go get his stuff, and he left her with him. And he said that was the last time I saw her. And she went with him, and he said he heard him tell her, he came back, because when they was coming back from getting the beer, they see him, right? And he was like, he meets up with us, and he was like, I got what you wanted. She was like, she didn't want to go. And he was like, oh, I got what you wanted, and now you don't want to go. And then that was at the time where the guy told him, hey, we found your stuff, and guy got distracted, and he left her with him, and they disappeared. And I guess that's where they went back to the trailer. They get back to the trailer. Now, we don't know what happened in the trailer. All we know is around 9 o'clock in the morning, the neighbors outside it was Easter morning, smoking cigarettes. They were outside, and this is all from testimony, y'all. The next door neighbor said she was outside with her boyfriend, white girl with a black guy. And let me tell you what this black guy was about to do. She goes, what is all that smoke? And she's in the trailer right next. And he was like, I don't know what that is. And she was like, go check. He goes, hops the fence, goes and checks. He says, so much smoke. The fire investigator said when you have a fire inside of one of those trailers, it's like being in a microwave because of the materials that are used to create these homes. It's like being in a microwave. It gets so hot in there. And he said, let me tell you something. He walked up to the door, baby. This is a black guy. He walked up to the door and he said, hello, is anyone in there? And he said he could hear her say, please help me. Oh my God. Girl, when they showed him the layout of that trailer, where her body was from where the front door was, I tell you, he was 5 feet away from her. He said, I tried to go in there, but the smoke I inhaled, it was too much smoke and I couldn't get in there. And when they showed, he just put his head down. When they showed, he walked back. By that time, the ambulance. Now, at this time, the man, Ken, who went and found his bike and stuff, he had gone to the store to get him something to eat. When he was driving back on his bike, on his way back to the park, he saw old boy. And when old boy saw him, old boy jumped the fence. Now this is gonna make sense because at 9:10 is when you see him walking. Now he walked past a trailer that had surveillance on 2 sides of it, and you see him with that girl's wallet in his hand, and he tucks it under his shirt, and he hops the fence. You see Ken, he had just passed by the trailer. He passed by the trailer to go visit because they use that trailer to squat, right? They were squatting in there. So he said around that time, right before all the fire started, the guy that she asked not to leave her, he drove by the trailer, but he saw people outside, and he said he didn't want to blow up the spot because that's where they hang out, and he didn't want people to know that there was homeless people in there. So he kept driving by. If he had stopped, he would have saw that girl in there. But he didn't stop. He kept going. And when he kept going, he went around, and you can see him on the surveillance. He went around and he sat at the bus stop. While he was sitting at the bus stop, he sees old boy walking, hops the fence to go to the main street. And when he started walking this way towards the dude, when he saw dude, he said, oh, I saw him. He was walking towards me, and then he turned around and he started walking the other direction. And that's when another homeless girl saw him walking the other direction, and she was like, he was just like talking to himself. And 4 minutes it took the fire department to respond. And by the time they got her and put the thing out, she was dead. Her trachea, all this right here, they show the inside, black. She had a busted lip. His DNA was near her vagina, inside of her vagina, and near her anus. And she had a busted lip. And the toxicology people, he said he could tell that injury happened in the last 10 hours based on how it was healing. Let me tell you something. The human body will tell you everything, baby. And he said that they got semen, they found his DNA out of her vagina and next to her anus. And then she had a busted lip. She died from asphyxiation. And it was just crazy how the series of events were just like bam, bam, bam. Had everybody moved just 30 seconds later, that girl probably would have been saved. And it's crazy because a guy on Easter Sunday, he said his mom got there. He lived in a trailer park. His mom got there, and he moved his mom's car from out in front to the guest parking in the park. He went over there, and he said when he was walking back, he heard a woman screaming. So the defense was trying to make it seem like the black guy and the white girl, who the black guy was trying to go in the house, they lived next door. He was trying to say that it was them arguing. It was that girl and that boy and that damn homeless dude arguing. He said he heard a woman yelling. He said it sounded like an argument, but I really didn't pay no attention. And it was around that time. He said he went on about his business, and then that's when the girl said the other girl, the next door neighbor, said she smelled smoke and she saw smoke waves. You know how the sun hits smoke and you could see the sun is coming up. It's Easter Sunday. And it just really was sad because that girl was about to leave town to go make a better life for herself, got drunk, got in contact with some homeless people, and most of the homeless people, they were just like, oh, we know old boy, and they said they saw him lighting fires that night, like lighting pieces of paper on fire. They found, of course, they found her purse with no wallet. It was inside of the trailer. In the bedroom, she was in the kitchen, I guess trying to get out. Baby, her blood alcohol level was 0.34. In the state of California, you cannot drive a car if your blood alcohol is 0.08. Her blood alcohol level was 0.34, and she had cocaine in her system. So he had got her what she asked for, and and in the state of California, there is a law that says if you commit an unlawful act and someone dies as a result, you are going to be charged with murder. And that's what happened. And all of the events, like him walking and the way that the trailer was set up, if he had to walk the correct way back out to the street, he would have passed that black guy and that white girl who lived next door. But he went the other way. And when he went the other way, that's when the surveillance caught him on camera walking, holding that girl's wallet in his hand. He tucked the wallet underneath his jacket, hopped the fence. When he hopped the fence, he saw the other homeless guy that he told him, don't cock block and don't snitch. And so when he saw him, he started walking this way. And then he said, and then you see him on the camera, y'all. He started walking this way, and then he turned around and started walking that way. And then you see the fire trucks on the thing. You see, they came in 4 minutes. That poor girl died just like that. They found that boy. Let me tell you something. They released us. They were like, okay, because you're alternates. They released us, and they were like, do y'all want to be called back in when we get the verdict in, or you just want to be called when the verdict? I said, just call me, right? I just want to know. Child, he was in there laughing at some points. He was laughing at points where he thought his defense was getting people together. They called the fire expert in there. They tried to discredit the fire expert. Honey, that prosecutor, baby, he was so good, and he really had an open and shut case. He really did. But they told you not to look up, and when I looked him up, he had been arrested before for arson and battery and stuff like that. Just to some person committing crimes over and over again. And I looked him up. He looked totally different from his mug shot, heavier. You in jail, you getting 3 hots and a cot. So he was eating that. He looked like he had gained maybe 20 pounds. He looked like big. When you looked at him on his mug shot, he's very skinny. And then her family, who was in the courtroom, some of her family testified, because they had to say that was her purse. And then they asked the guy, is that her wallet? And he was like, that's her wallet, because it matched her purse. You saw her purse in there, no wallet, no money. They tried to get another fire expert that was paid, and the guy was like, oh, there was cigarette butts outside. And them men said, and that fire did not start from a damn cigarette butt. That fire was intentionally set. And it was just really sad, because it's just like all of these events and just choices that you make. And then when the guy Ken, the homeless guy, he was like, I know old boy, and I know that he's kind of sketchy, and so I wanted to stay with her. But then when old boy was like, they found my other bike and my trailer, they have bike, how they have the trailers on the back of the bikes. all his stuff was in it. And he said, when they told me, when old boy was like, I found your bike, I was gone. I left her. And he said, I and they were like, okay, strike that. Because he was like, I wish, and he was about to say, I wish I never left her. Because he was like, and that's the last time I saw her. And just that fast, it's like, you go somewhere with this guy, and you know, when you're drunk, your inhibitions are down. You're not making the right decisions. You know what I'm saying? So you really don't want to go, but it's like, he got the stuff I asked for. Okay, let me go. You know, and women are so trained to not make men feel bad about, you know, denying them or saying no. You know what I mean? And she like ignored her intuition. And it's like, the day before you're supposed to leave, you come in contact with this homeless man who ends up killing you, girl. And she had a son too. It was just really sad. But just everything, I'm like, you just never know. All the cameras caught her. They showed her body, you know, and she was in the kitchen, and the kitchen was like probably, I want to say, I said 5 feet. It might have been 3 feet away from the door. Like he could have, if because you don't know the layout of houses, you know what I'm saying? And if he knew the layout, he would have been able to go in there and like drag her ass out of there, because she was still alive. And in just that fast, and you know, like with everything, you being high, you being drunk, then you got fire, you can't really get up and walk, you that drunk, you've been hit in the face. Her lip was split right there, like he had hit her or something. Maybe she fell, I don't know, but she had a blunt force hit on her mouth and split her lip, and you could see it. She had burnt up. She had in 4 minutes, and not all her body was burnt. So she died from asphyxiation. They said her voice box, everything was full of soot, and I was just amazed at how all these people were caught on camera, and how his ass, if he had gone the other way. So like, say this is the trailer, and she's in the trailer, and the next door neighbors are right here. If he walked this way, they would have saw him. But he walked around, and when he walked around, a surveillance camera caught him. And the surveillance was facing that way and that way. So the surveillance caught him jumping over the fence, starting to walk that way, and that's when old dude said he was sitting at the bus stop eating his donut. He went to the donut shop, or went to the store to get him a donut, and he was gonna sitting there, and then he went on to the park, and then that's when he heard the fire trucks. Just that fast, that poor girl. And she was supposed to leave out of town the next day, and you would come in contact with this man who ends up killing you, child. A stranger, a complete stranger. Them homeless people, they really testified for her. They really did, and testified to old boy's character, you know, and how they know him by his street name that they were calling him. There was times he was laughing and smiling. I guess he thought his defense, honey. And baby, when the defense was up there, everybody, I looked at the jury, and they were looking like, honey, you can save your breath. Because they had already made up their minds. I know they did, because the next day when they came back to deliberate, they started at 9, they had a verdict in at 10 o'clock. Oh, drunk ass, driving ass, stay in your goddamn lane. That's why your lights is hanging off the back of your shit. But yeah, so that's what happened, y'all. So I told y'all the story. Go look him up. His name is William Thomas, and her name is Ariana Doyle, and you can look it up. And she looked like a vibrant white, you know, just a white girl, you know, and said she was moving to Southern California the next day, baby. And look, you in the park, you leave your family. Everybody was testifying and everything. That prosecution, he did a good job. And it wasn't really a lot of hard work, because it was open and shut. But when I looked that man up, he had been arrested before for arson. So he lit the fire in 2 places. And I was telling my sons about it. They were like, well, why would he light the place on fire? Why? If you did what you did, I guess because he raped her, I imagine he did. I'm just gonna say he did, because you found semen. I imagine her not being willing. He showed interest in her, but she's telling somebody, stay with me, because I don't trust old boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, be careful. And dude was like, you need to close your purse. Her money was gone. Her wallet was gone. Never found her wallet. Where was her wallet? Where was her wallet? You had it. You took her $100. Last $100 she had left, I guess. And she's going to go take a bus with her son, her little boy, and move. And that was it. All right, y'all. I got to go. Yeah, go look him up. His name was William Thomas. Her name is Ariana Doyle. You can Google it in Sacramento, and you can see him. You can see what he was charged with. You can see her, video of her. Nice looking girl. You know, just sad. Just choices. Trust your intuition, y'all. Trust your intuition. If you're around somebody and you feel like they funny, they probably are funny. They probably are funny. Just, be careful. All right, y'all. Take care of each other. Peace.